Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever this podcast may find you. It is I, as always, Gavin.
And I, Justin.
And we do a little bit of a debrief on this episode. I just got back from the Salt Lake Auto Show, which is something I haven't done in well over a decade.
Neither have I. I haven't been there either. I didn't attend, though, but I did get to see a whole bunch of cars this week that I haven't personally been around that close with. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that is kind of cool. It's always funny to have that kind of thing happen in, the dead of winter when we're, not doing car shit. We don't have cars and coffees going on. We don't have canyon runs actively happening, throughout the weekends. And so getting a nice little dose of cars during these colder months, especially after having a bunch of winter storms, is always appreciated. So let's just get into that.
Yeah, we shall.
It feels so good, today, because first of all, the weather. It was 50 when I left the auto show, which we can get into that later.
Yeah.
But it was 50 when I left. I had a 9 o'clock oil change this morning, and because I was a bit over, I was to be honest, and I'm not happy about this, but I figured I'd get the timing right, with the trip and stuff. But I was about 900 miles past, which is not the end of the world, but it's not great,
Yeah.
I'm always on the money with my cars as far as, or at least this car, with oil change and maintenance and that kind of stuff. So I have felt guilty, but got fresh oil in it today, and I didn't even call them ahead of time to see if they did this, or I didn't even make an appointment to do this. I just threw my Extreme Contact Sports in the back and drove over this morning. And I asked them hey, you guys have tire machines, right? And they're like, yeah. I was like, sweet. So can I also, on top of my oil change, do a tire swap today? And they're like, yeah, sure. So I now have my Extreme Contact Sports on my car, and it's sunny and 50 degrees, and my car rides better, and I can take corners, and it's just such a relief. I know it's not springtime, and it's probably too early by a lot of people's metrics, and I'll probably find somewhere else to do the swap back, or maybe I will do Ford and Draper, because they were $75 to do it.
That's not bad.
It wasn't bad at all.
The last time I went to swap larger wheels, and when I say larger, I mean 17 and up, I got told by Les Schwab that if it's 17 and larger, that it's double price, which is wild.
That might be a Les Schwab thing.
It is. I found out later it was a corporate policy that most stores just didn't follow, but this particular store did. So 75 is actually a pretty good price.
Yeah. That's interesting. So yeah, I got oil change. I got the tires on today. What's also interesting, so he asked me, do you want an alignment with that too? And I think it's lower for the tire swap because most people are going to say yes to the alignment.
Yeah.
And the alignment's 180.
Yeah, and that's what's funny is the alignment guy we both typically used to use, Scott,
What do you mean used to use?
He is shut down for the moment.
What the fuck?
He got a job offer that he couldn't refuse, running a lab like the one he used to run up in Park City, but he's in charge of it versus being an underling.
Oh my god, I didn't know that. Congrats, Scott.
Yeah, so he's not stopping alignments. He's just pausing them.
Yeah, and I'm sure. Yeah, and I'm sure just with whenever anyone starts a new job, there's a lot of just life adjustment that kind of happens with that. You have to kind of sort things out first before, resuming something resuming a side hustle.
Yeah, and so I remember when I got my the alignment.
Wait, so what
done,
happened to his shop then?
I'm not sure actually. I think he still has it because he was on a year lease. I think. So I imagine he may still have it and just maybe do one every now and again. But he said for the most part he was going to be pausing. But when I went to go get the all-track aligned, I actually mentioned to him how much I'd paid for the last alignment for just a regular car back when, because he was really booked out, and I think it was my friend's Saab. Anyways, but he was shocked. He's like, "Holy shit! It used to be $80 to get your car aligned at Les Schwab for just a quick front end tow. Now it's $130 for just a front end tow at Les Schwab, and $180, like you said, at Ford. I'm guessing that was hopefully Camberanto.
I mean, it's just a full alignment.
Yeah, so hopefully they did all four, four wheel as well, but for 180.
I mean, I didn't do it.
Yeah, no, I know. So
I assumed that Scott was still in business. So, best of luck to you, Scott, and hopefully you can get back to aligning people's shit soon because I'm gonna need some. Probably in the spring.
yeah,
Probably like just before cars, like basically right when everyone else is doing it. But
yeah,
it's all good.
yeah.
Well, cool, man. What else is going on? What's going on with you right now?
So I found out a couple funny little things. So as we've talked about before, I own my Tacoma is my more or less daily, and then I have two other vehicles which are kind of fun cars, but have also been on and off being paused for fixes or various things. I found out that Utah law changed, and I may have to put some money into the Saab to get it to pass emissions for the first time, even though it's on a vintage plate.
That's weird. What's going on?
It's actually a good change, and I'm actually for it. So basically, this last year, they changed the law to where the only vintage vehicles that are emissions exempt are 1980 and older. 80 to whatever the year is currently from this point forward, that will be 30 years old. So like this year it's 23, next year it's 24.
80 or 90?
Sorry, 80 and older don't require emissions at all. 80 and newer.
That's 43 years back.
No, sorry, hang on, I'm not done. So 80 and older don't require emissions. 80 up until whatever year is the current 30-year mark is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is they will require emissions unless you have legit proof of vintage vehicle insurance. The reason they did this is to eliminate all the jack wagons driving around in a fucking clapped-out, rusted-out Chevy on a vintage tag. I am so for this. I saw a couple posts, two of which were people getting real pissy up in arms about it, and a third one which had my same opinion, which is that, yes, they get to like kill all the douche wagons that are just like skirting the law and ruining it for everybody. Because
God,
realistically,
Justin, you sound really mad right now. I haven't heard you this angry since like the fucking Cybertruck came out.
it just bugs me because it's like it just bugs me so much because like they simply used this law for years to skirt so many regulations, even back when we still had inspections. So I'm glad something changed, and I think they were really smart with how they did it, so that they're like, yeah, if you have Haggerty vintage vehicle insurance, you don't need to pass emissions.
I was gonna say anyone with like an old BMW or Jag or Porsche or Mercedes, whatever, any old actual collector car, they're very likely going to already have Haggerty, so it doesn't affect them anyway.
Exactly. So it'll affect...
Who do you have through the Saab?
My Saab's still fully regularly insured through Geico that I use everything.
Oh, okay. Oh, because you're bundled probably with the Taco and the Audi.
I am, and I get a pretty significant discount from my CDL, and I found it better just, especially since the values are up. I probably will eventually move the Saab to vintage, but I haven't felt compelled to yet. So I will try to pass emissions for the first time in 4 years in the next month because my tag expires the end of January. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
The Saab might be in the same predicament the Audi is in because both of the cats are rattling. So I'm pretty sure both of them need replacement. Well, I know the Audi does because it won't pass emissions. The Saab, I'm making the assumption that it will. Honestly, probably because of the incident that happened about 5 years ago.
Yeah, probably.
Because my cat almost caught fire.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what did most of the damage. So we'll see what happens with that. But I actually have to give the state of Utah props for like really doing this law what I believe to be properly. And, they didn't want to screw people over, but they also wanted to set the record straight on people that were just finding loopholes.
Right.
So anyways, that was one thing. And then the other random tidbit that I found this week, which I thought was just really interesting, was Mazda is bringing back the rotary.
I've heard that's so I'm not looking at any articles right now, but I believe that was to be implemented with the hybrid system to go in like some crossover.
Yes, so the MX-30 EV launched this past year, but it had a pretty piddly range of under 100 miles. It wasn't quick
That's
0
right.
to 60. Yeah,
Right.
It wasn't quick 0 to 60. It took a long time to charge. It really didn't give you any of the EV benefits except for just not paying for gas.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're doing is similar. It has to be billed as a plug-in hybrid because of how large the fuel tank is. In order to be billed as an electric car with a range extender, it would have to have a 1.5 gallon fuel tank or less. But it's being billed as that. But it's basically the same concept that BMW did with the i3, where it's all electric driven. The fuel engine doesn't in any way, shape, or form touch.
It's like the
wheels.
Volt. It's like the same thing as the Volt.
Exactly. So, but it still has that roughly 100-mile range on all, or actually, sorry, it changed because they had to add the fuel tank. It's 56 miles. I'm reading right here. 56-mile all electric. But then it has a 13.6 gallon fuel tank. So a still basically regular sized fuel tank.
I think that's what the size of mine is, and my Fiesta is about there.
Yeah.
Maybe even bigger.
Yeah, and it's so the little rotary acts as a range extender, quote unquote, to charge the batteries to keep everything moving, and it is 75 horsepower. So it's actually average-ish sized compared to like the i3, where it's literally a 300-ish cc moped engine.
But bro, where's my 4-rotor, bro? Where's my Rob Dom rotor, bro?
We'll see if the spinning Dorito, if the multiple spinning Dorito ever comes back. I don't know if it will at this point.
It won't.
It really probably won't.
It won't.
It was never efficient to begin with.
I don't.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't see Mazda, bringing back the rotary in any kind of sporting matter. I mean, I guess if we're being nerdy and if we like really care about what the fucking generator is in the car, then great. Yeah. But there's not going to be a return for an RX-7, or RX-8. They're not going to come out with an RX-9. I mean, great. Awesome.
See, but I actually think this implementation of a rotary is probably the best use of one because it's not always running. It's very small and lightweight compared to a regular internal combustion engine of almost any kind.
Sure.
I think it works almost better here than it ever did in like most of the rotary cars.
Was the RX-8, because that was a 1.3, I think, as well. That was a 2-rotor? Probably?
Yes.
They wouldn't have been a single.
No, they're not a single. I believe they are a 2-rotor.
So that would, 1.3 divided by 2, that's roughly, 666 cc's. So.
Yeah, and that's really, I think, what is in there. And, 75 horsepower is actually a surprisingly large number for a range extender. Most of them are sub 40.
It doesn't need that. So that is cool that it's like that, and it'll be interesting to hear, what kind of sounds that thing makes.
I know. That's what I'm curious about is also most range extenders you can't even hear. So it would be kind of funny if they made this one loud enough to hear and made it rev linearly with the throttle pedal.
Right. Oh God, I can hear it now. They're already like plumbing in the audio into the speakers.
Make your car sound like an RX-7.
I mean, I can see it now. The sport mode or whatever. You can have a sport mode, and the gauges turn red, and you hear a little.
Oh, jeez. you hear the single spinning Dorito.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Well, what we think is a single spinning Dorito.
Yeah.
I mean, that's neat. I was at the Salt Lake Auto Show a few hours ago, and plot twist: we're recording this on a Saturday because I'm leaving tomorrow, and we didn't want to do this from long distance.
Yeah.
So I was at the Salt Lake Auto Show and got to poke my head around some cars. Mazda was one of them. I mean, there wasn't anything really new there. I mean, basically everything that was there were things I'd already seen on road. But there were some other vehicles that were there that I hadn't seen in person yet.
What gotcha? What were those? I'm guessing one of the ones is the one you sent me.
I wasn't even thinking about that, but yes, there was an MC20 in this. I don't know what kind of blue you would call it, but I guess maybe a Mexico blue, or maybe a shark, somewhere between Mexico and shark blue. So like a really rich but bright but kind of deep blue. No, maybe not that deep, but like this rich, bright, saturated blue, which is really, really pretty.
Yeah.
And in a similar color, I also saw the new Civic Type R.
Oh.
And actually got to sit in it.
And
it was actually the first time sitting in any of the newer, like the newest gen Civics. I like the interior more than I thought I would. I thought that the metal grate that had, in the interior, for those that have seen the press photos, basically across the dash, there's this big metal grate, and there are like these little sticks that point out of it, and that directs the air vents that are actually behind the metal grate.
Yeah.
It's an interesting design. I thought it was kind of corny and like kind of ridiculous, like kind of busy actually out of the box, like when the press photos dropped. And I'm starting to come around on that. I think it's actually quite interesting. The seats are still very red, carrying over from the previous gen Type R. And as someone who is a seat snob, not because I have like a sensitive back or neck or anything, but because I've just been frankly spoiled by my Fiesta ST Recaro seats.
Yeah.
And these are probably 85 to 90% of that.
Nice.
They're
okay.
real. They're really good as far as like holding and bolstering, but can also accompany someone who isn't a 33, 34 inch inseam or waist. Sorry. So there is that. They were manual seats that they were on rails, and you could only or was it on rails? I couldn't.
So.
I can't remember if they were purely manual, but that you can only go forward and back and recline the seat. I didn't see anything regarding lumbar or. Do you remember the seats in the M2 that we drove that had like the little extender like at the seat base?
Yeah.
Didn't have that.
Yeah.
And
like thigh extension.
Yeah. Well, not thigh, but like your upper leg. Like above,
gotcha.
like from above the knee. You know how
Yeah.
like the bottom of the seat can like extend. It didn't have that, and the only reason why that even came to mind was I was with my friend and your friend Richard Vunder, because he and his mom were going to the auto show to look at new cars, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to go?" So that's really the only reason why I went. I haven't been to the auto show in like 12 or 11 years, so. I thought, it's been a while, and there might be some things I haven't seen yet, and might be able to poke my head around, so that'll be cool. And I'm glad I did. But Civic Type R, MC20 was behind stanchions and like blocked from people, so no one was poking their head in that. And so there was that. There was a Subaru Solterra, which is like the electric Outback that's going to be coming out.
Okay.
That was there. Saw the new WRX there, but I've seen them in person, like just driving by, and you probably have too by now.
I think I've seen one. Yeah.
Yeah, they had like a graphite colored one and an orange one. Definitely looks better in darker colors.
Okay.
But there was that. There's something else. I'm spacing on what the other thing was. Oh, GR Yaris, or sorry, GR Corolla. Sorry, GR Corolla. There were some like little kids like sitting up front or whatever, and I wasn't gonna bug people. And like you can poke your head inside and say, yes, this is definitely a Corolla still.
Yes, this is a hyped up Corolla.
It's so funny because we live in this world now where cars get hyped up, and we have like this imagination of like how we think it'll drive, and there's such an attraction there. But the only ways that people are showing these cars off are either at car shows or Cars and Coffees or whatever, where you don't get to experience any of that. So you don't really get to experience why the thing is actually that special. You just know that it's special.
You just get to see it as like a visual representation of it, but it's rare that you actually either get to experience or see it get experienced.
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
And yes,
sad.
this thing is rare, and I thought it was humorous that there's a little sign up front that said, base MSRP $35,000.
Oh boy, if only.
It was the base, so whatever. Is it the core? I think. There's a core. There's the Maurizio is the top end one. GR Corolla. I'm just going up here.
Yeah, the core. Yep.
The core is the base. What's the middle one? The circuit. Yeah.
And then Morizo is the high end.
It's the special edition one. So the difference between the Morizo and the circuit is the rear seat delete, which is great in a hatchback.
Right. And in a 4-door hatchback, nonetheless.
Yeah, exactly. It's a seat delete. There's more torque. It's the same power output, but I believe there's like a 20 foot-pound torque increase, and then there's a gearing differential. like differential as in a difference.
Yes.
There's a gearing difference. I think the Maurizio has shorter gears, I believe, or a different diff.
It also says it ships stock with Pilot Sport Cup 2s.
Okay.
So I mean, pretty aggressive tire for what a stock tire.
I mean, the Focus RS came with Cup 2s.
Oh, nice. Okay.
As an option at least.
Yeah.
Like the base was at the time Pilot Super Sports. So before the PS4S came out, and then you could also get it with Cup 2s.
Yeah.
But yeah. So those were some things that I saw. Oh, I also sitting in the Civic Type R, just to reflect back on that. Great shifter. I was like pretty impressed because I don't recall the shifter in the previous gen Type R to be that great.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was good for like a modern day manual, but like compared to like how Civics have been in years past, it was like, it was okay. Yeah, no, I was impressed, and I really, really hope to drive one of the new Type Rs this year.
I would love to. I mean, not only do we know several people that have either contemplated getting one or looked into it, and God forbid, hopefully they can actually get one without a markup if somebody does. However, it feels like the Civic has grown up. I feel like the last gen Civic was kind of its teenage years, almost angsty years. And now this kind of feels grown up to me looking at it.
I mean, the Civic itself has been around for a long time. It's been around for like 45 years. So it's hard to say what exactly the last gen was.
Yeah.
It was definitely one marketed to more spiky-haired, mid-20s, younger people.
Yeah.
Even though it was priced at a point that, when they came out, they were like starting in like the high 30s, I think.
Yeah,
like mid-high 30s. There was markup on those when they came out, and there continues to be markup. There's even like the special, like there's this yellowy gold edition one that's like a limited edition. Like there were some that were marked up to like 70 grand.
Jeez, that's insane.
It's dumb. Oh, and actually, I'm kind of just on a tangent right now. So speaking of market adjustment, quote unquote, so you've probably heard about how dealers are becoming a little bit more smart to this whole, dealer markup thing, and they still want to get their cut. They still want to get their piece of the action, but, want to kind of get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
And you've heard about how they're not just doing like a lump sum of like, it says $60,000 on the Monroney, and next to it says, market adjustment or anything like that. So there are dealers now that are taking that mindset and amortizing out into various options on cars. So like dealer installed options. So like, whenever you go to buy a car, they'll try to sell you on the, rust proof coating or, ceramic tint or various anti-lock devices or things like that.
Yep.
So, like, there are now dealerships, and I don't have any in front of me, but there are dealerships that are upmarking like crazy, like $1,500 for like ceramic tint.
Oh yeah, and to be clear, some of that has always been a thing. They're just now upping the ante on how much they're charging.
Yeah,
for
by
those things.
orders of magnitude, upping it.
Yeah.
But on also another similar note, I saw yesterday there is a Porsche dealer that is selling this green 992 Turbo S. Optioned out, it was already a $277,000 vehicle, which is fucking yikes.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And I posted this on my stories on my gp.media Instagram. If you're listening, please make sure to follow that. So on the it says manufacturer suggested retail price of $277,280. And then underneath that, it said dealer installed option / additional dealer profit.
Yep.
$100,000.
Yeah.
So now you're paying over $350,000 for what is effectively a faster 911.
I've actually seen that one other time from one of the, and I've mentioned this before, from one of the people I follow on YouTube a lot. He was getting his AMG serviced, and they looked at one of the fancy new AMG GT editions that got delivered, and it was also
It was the Black Series.
It was the Black Series, yep, and it was
the
also...
The Black Series was double 80 or double ADM. So it was like 100 and... Oh, wait, no. No, that was a $300,000 car, and like they
Yep.
tacked another $300K on it.
They did. Yep.
Yeah, I think that was in Florida. I
300,000.
think
Yeah.
so, making it effectively a 2/3 million, a $600,000 Mercedes, which is fucking hell.
More than my house is worth. Actually, sorry, I should rephrase that. More than my house shouldn't be worth.
Right.
Because my house
Right.
shouldn't be worth that much, but it somehow is.
Yeah. Well, good for you.
Asinine. Good for me. I'm never going to capitalize on it because I'm not going to make this problem worse. But oh, Jesus Christ, it's ridiculous.
Anyways, those are my thoughts on kind of what's going on.
No, I know, and also I do have to go back a little bit to the Civic Type R. If it really is full manual seats, props. Thank you. I actually like that.
I think it was. I don't know. We sat in a number of cars today. Also sat in the new Mark 8 GTI as well.
Let me guess. Did it feel like a Mark 7?
It felt like a Mark 7. Well, the shifter was slightly stiffer than Mark 7s that at least come to memory. The shifter felt marginally better. I mean, different seats, and the interior is different. I think the interior is worse with all the haptic buttons.
Yeah.
All the haptic feedback. And I think that's a potentially dangerous proposition, especially for how empty fucking minded people are.
Yes.
But I don't know. I don't know. Did I talk on the podcast about like our the video plans that I have for like the next couple months?
We've mentioned it a couple times, but I don't know if we've gone in depth really.
So here's the dealio, and we haven't done a state of the channel update really, but I guess we can kind of let it. I guess we can do that as a video later, maybe when I get back actually from Cali. But for those listening right now, here's the dealio on what's going on. We are aiming to do weekly content starting in April. We want to do this properly and have a solid running start to all of this. We don't want to, try to just start filming weekly content like right out the gate and publishing it, and then, in a month or maybe 2 months or something, run out of cars because like the seasons aren't right and the cars aren't out and we're scrambling. And I don't want to just do like weekly update videos like on my car or on your car or whatever.
Yeah.
So we're kind of and that's why we're doing this in April, or starting the videos in April and filming now. So as of now, we've already filmed my Fiesta ST review. That's already uploaded and slated to launch in April. Your Saab 900 Turbo SPG, same treatment, already filmed, edited, and scheduled. I'm also not even recycling or reusing. I'm just using it for the first time. A review I did of a C8 Corvette Z51 that I drove last year in the July up at Cascade Springs. That was a really awesome experience. So we have 3 videos for now. I'm about to go off to California and film a 718 Boxster GTS 4-liter, which I watched a video review of one of those from Henry Catchpole the other day and got so fucking stoked. Like, I was excited like when I booked it, and then I saw his review. I was like, oh, this is going to be good.
Nice.
So got that going on. A friend of mine, and who's been on the podcast before, Andrew Casey, he's going to be down there with his girlfriend as well. And at this moment, they have a 718 GT4 on Turo. There is a potential question mark because he got a message from the company saying that, excuse me, that there was a potential issue with a door window. Like, I don't have any details. I don't know if the door window is like, seized and locked up and doesn't want to go down. I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah.
So he may stick with that and just, endure not being able to put the windows down, like driving down the PCH or something.
Yeah.
He might be jumping up to a 992. He might be jumping at a 981 Cayman GTS that I was actually looking at already before I got my Boxster. So we'll see whatever it is he rents. I'm also going to do a review on because it's going to be pretty fucking good. And we're going to be in the the squiggly Santa Monica Mountains, and you just gotta. So got that going on, and then I have a Mark 8 GTI and Veloster N slated at the end of the of January to review. And then on top of that, if his car gets fixed, we have an R53 Mini that is full bolt-on plus, and I believe it makes in the neighborhood of 300 wheel.
Which is wild. That's so much power, and it's still supercharged too.
And it's still supercharged. That's my favorite part about it. Like,
Oh,
that is
that's 100%.
that is a high-strung Mini.
I much prefer that. Like, the turbos were at the time from stock technically better in a lot of ways, but like the superchargers are cool, just way cool, especially if they're up like that in power.
Yeah, because like first of all, the later gens like the R56 and all that, like they got a turbo, and then like all the other hot hatches are turbocharged as well.
Yeah.
So like this is something that definitely separates itself from the crowd, and gives them more of a personality. I feel.
Completely agreed. Yeah.
I haven't driven an R53 before, period. So maybe this can be my, one hit a quitta, my one and done for R53s. That'd be kind of fun. So, got all those going on, which brings us up to a grand total of 7 videos. So that's 7 weeks of content by the time effectively, like, Valentine's Day comes around, which gives us another, 5 weeks-ish? Until the start of, publishing of, like, when the videos go live. So,
yeah,
it gives us some time. It gives us some wiggle room. And by the time the end of the slate of videos will be happening, the canyon roads are going to be opening up, which means the cars are going to come out and the good weather is going to be here. And then we can make more content.
Yeah, it should be a good enough buffer zone to help us out and also help us continue to take the weeks that we do to do the larger projects, because that's the thing is the larger projects have a chance to derail the weekly content.
Well, and that's like kind of the nice thing about our setup. Down here in Salt Lake where I am, I'm kind of the captain of the ship for the weekly content stuff. I'm the one that's booking and organizing. Whose car we're shooting, where, at what time, and utilizing camera gear, and like all the ins and outs of that. And up in Syracuse, where you are, it's kind of like we have 2 different offices.
Kind of, yeah.
It's like we're 2 different like franchises of a brand.
Kind of.
Where like a lot of the organization for all the bigger stuff happens up by where you are, and it's going to be tricky to manage all this stuff because I'm going to try to find time to film the weekly content and work my day job. And also part of working the day job now for me has been to travel for shows. We're going to be going to outdoor, expedition shows such as Overland Expo, Slow Rex is one of them. And we have like a few of those scattered, and those can take a week, especially Overland Expo East, I think, is in Virginia, I think.
Yeah.
It's fucking far east. Like, I've never driven across the country, so this will be quite interesting. And we're not flying. We're driving because we have to drive our rigs and stuff. So, yeah.
That's a fun cross-country bomb.
It is a fun cross-country bomb, but it's it's going to be juggling a lot of things and got to do those things on top of, what big pieces do we want to do this year and how can we do that? And maybe if we're lucky, we do 2. Maybe we just do one big one that we think is really, really important.
Yeah,
so.
And we already have that one picked out, I think. If it comes down to one, I think we both know what it's going to be.
I think we do too. And, oh boy, if it works out the way I want it to, it's going to be good for everybody. It's going to be good for you and me. I think it'll be good for the internet to have this kind of project documented.
Agreed. I mean, I kind of view that as some of the things that we've taken on so far. Like
Audis for sure.
Audis for sure. I haven't seen anybody else take all of the NSXs like we did. That was thank you again to all the owners. That was the ultimate privilege.
Oh my God.
Like most of these things that we do or intend on doing, it seems like all those cars have been together in YouTube videos before, but only as like a drag race, not as like, an actual feature on like what the cars are, driving them in different locations, talking about how different they are from each other, not just in out and out speed in a straight line, but also like their peculiarities, living with them, how's the interior, because they do change a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's funny because there was actually a blue NC1 Type S that was
Uh-huh.
at the auto show today too. It wasn't. Why am I spacing on his name?
It wasn't Kyle's.
Kyle's.
Yep.
It wasn't Kyle's because it was a standard car with stock wheels and had like this frosty PPF on it.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Interesting.
it was interesting. But it's funny. I turned to my friend Richard. I was like, I could tell you exactly how that drives.
And
He's
it
like, yeah, I'm
drives
sure you could.
interesting.
I mean, technically it drives great. It's just not that, emotion provoking.
No, it's an experience in speed, but not in feeling.
I mean, I think all cars on either end of that spectrum are experiences. If something is just like stupid fast, but like gives you no feel, that is an experience, and that corner is coming up.
Yes.
But at the same time, I would much rather be in a car with much less power, much, much, much less weight, less complications, 2 drive wheels, and just a sticky set of tires and some good brakes, and boom, Bob's your uncle.
Oh yeah. No,
That's a,
that's great. In fact, it's funny to see his car has gone around the ringer. Mentioning Kyle, like around the ringer, being he's put a lot of miles on it. He's done California twice. He went to like this big old NSX thing in California. I don't know exactly what, but
he also took it to Pebble Beach.
yeah, Pebble Beach as well. I mean, it's cool to see that car gets around. I mean, hell, we mentioned it in the actual in studio bit that from the time that we filmed the driving bit, which the car had less than 1,000 miles, to the time that we refilmed the in studio bit, it had gained another 4,000 or 5,000 miles.
Oh, I thought it had 2,400 miles when we had it in studio.
Sorry, I think I doubled that. Yeah, but it had still gained thousands of miles. Where
Yeah, it was
most
still.
of those don't.
Oh yeah. No, so that I mean, props to Kyle, and anyone else that really drives their cars. But yeah, speaking just to those experiences though, like it is an experience on either end of the spectrum. It's just really it comes down to what you prefer.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that think that 400 horsepower in a 3,000-ish pound car is not enough, and there are people that really crave a sub 3,000 pound naturally aspirated rear wheel drive experience as well with a manual gearbox.
Yep. No, and man, it's bizarre just seeing that. I actually do have to mention one thing since I mentioned the mileage thing. I got to detail and quickly top up somebody's ceramic coating from an accident earlier this week, and the owner of this establishment that I did it at has some storage in there, and it was just so bizarre because there's this Viper in there. It's a 2003 third gen Viper that has less than 2,000 miles on it, and I was like, that is just such a tragedy.
Yeah, you told me and I got mad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's on the original tires too, which is even more fucking dumb.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's been inside its whole life. The tires are done. They've been done for a decade.
And it doesn't make me mad, or sorry, everything about this makes me mad. It doesn't make it any better that, if the owner is, in this for the long game of like trying to, sell the car later,
Mm-hmm.
or if they're just going to, take it with them to the grave. That doesn't, like, neither one of those are a good situation, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a car, like, yeah, it's a fucking death trap, but, like, it also, like, is an unhappy car when it's just sitting.
And this in particular, it was in good condition, but it hadn't had a cover on it in a while, so it was pretty dusty. And it's just sad. Cars don't need to have like no miles on them to be kept effectively perfect. And when I say effectively perfect, because nothing's actually perfect. That car
Except
could
for
have
GT3s. GT3s are perfect. You can fight me on that.
funny. But that car could have 10, 20,000 miles, so still low miles, and probably still be in the same condition it is in now. In fact, right now, I would make many valid arguments that the car has been neglected completely. Because although it could be fairly easily brought back up to snuff, it's dusty, it needs tires, it needs brakes. There's a lot of stuff that's timed out that should have just been cared for. If a car is going to be properly cared for and be maintained in low mileage, it should have no less than like absolute max 10-year-old tires. It should have lots of stuff done to it that.
No, I mean, a car of that caliber shouldn't have any tires any older than 5 years.
Agreed. I'm even stretching it a bit to say, like, at the very least, it should have something done to it. Clearly, nothing's been done to this, and it's a tragedy, an absolute tragedy for what is, although a death trap, a really cool car.
Yeah.
And he had a few others in there that were also projects that, like, those are more understandable. Ones that are like, okay, that's going to take a lot of work to get back up to snuff.
Was that the 356s?
Yes. So he had 4 356s, 3 of which seemed to be just complete, probably full chassis, probably engines too. Another one was a shell. And then I actually found out, I thought it was a Jaguar XK120, but it was an XK140, actually.
What's the difference?
The body design is just slightly tweaked. They look very similar, but the coupe, like, profile's a little different. The rear window's a little different. So
yeah, the roof looked really tall.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that was changed. And the XK120 coupes look very different to the 140s. So,
gotcha.
It looks very clown shoe-esque, but I hadn't seen one of those in person. I didn't really go up to it because I was obviously there to work, not to snoop. But it was cool to see and be within like 10 feet of something like that.
Yeah.
Just that one is one that you, especially over on this side of the pond, being it was right-hand drive as well, you really don't see. So it was the proper way the car was set up for its Britishness. But
go ahead. Also at car show, there were the new F-types.
Oh, what do you think of those in person?
I think the first one's better looking.
Okay.
I mean the rear ends are unchanged. The only thing that really happened was just the front clip.
Jaguar is funny.
Yeah. Oh, there was also an F-Pace that was a 1988 edition. Have you heard of this?
I have not, but I am bringing up the Google.
Yeah, fire up the Google machine.
Okay, Jaguar F-Pace 1988 edition. F-Pace, interesting, K. Owned one of 394. What an odd number.
Yeah, so this was to commemorate at least entering the Le Mans race. I don't know if they won anything. But it was this crazy dark and deep purple. Like, indoors, it looked black. I had to shine my phone flashlight onto it to see the metal flake.
Ooh, wow.
And the purple. So it was deep, deep, deep purple, which was pretty cool. And mostly silver looking, but kind of a warm steel looking finish on the wheels.
So here you go. It says Midnight Amethyst Purple is the name of the paint.
Yeah.
All the badging is Sunset Gold, and the
that's pretentious.
Exactly, and then and then the wheels are even more pretentious. They are forged champagne gold.
Oh, they all look. I mean, all the accents look the same as far as color wise. But yeah, okay.
Ironically, even in their own documentation, it all looks the same. So I think it's funny that they named them different.
Yeah. But yeah, 5-liter supercharged V8, that same kind of shit that's in the F-Type R, the SVR, same thing. And, 542 horsepower.
Oh, there's the price. Well,
Well, I saw 110 when I was there.
Yep, exactly. The quote-unquote price, but if it's some special edition bullshit, it's going to be 1.5 times that at least.
Well, yeah, and, like, fast SUVs, require money.
Yes.
I mean, compare that to a Cayenne Turbo, or a X5M, or an I guess what is it, ML63 AMG?
Yeah.
Or what's the new one now? The one that isn't an egg. Is it GLS?
GE, I think so. Yeah. I'm not up to date on Mercedes.
Yeah, I think it's GLS.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh well, that one starts at 140.
Yeah, so I mean, it is a deal compared to its competitors.
It's practically a bargain.
Practically, yes, only 6 figures. And
I mean, these things basically, except for like the Escalade V, probably. Like all the fast SUVs, they're all starting 6 figures. That's just what that's the kind of money you have to bring for that kind of thing.
Escalade V starts at 149.
Oh, so never mind.
Jesus Christ.
There you go.
I was curious.
Everything's fast and numbers don't matter.
Everything's fast and so is the price. Wow. My God. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I hadn't really thought about that. That it's quote unquote direct competition is actually a lot more expensive. And Jag has been kind of riding out a lot of its platforms. A lot of its
How long has
platforms.
that 5 liter been in production for?
Jesus Christ! It came out
A
with
decade?
a little over a decade, I think, because I think it came out with the new XJ in 2010.
Oh fuck! Or the XF actually, I think too.
Yeah, because it debuted with those. Because some of the original variation of that engine, it's not a Ford engine, but it is very similar to the Coyote design. They're not that far off. They're distant cousins, we'll call
It's
it.
a JLR engine. It's a Jaguar Land Rover engine. They did.
Yeah.
There was there might be some similarities in design, but that wasn't necessarily pulled from Ford.
They're not, and that's my point. They're not sharing any components, but it did come out around the same time because there was, as far as I've dug up, we'll call it a collaboration, but no part sharing, because that was right as Jaguar was also getting fully separated from the Ford lineup.
I mean, yeah, the Tata merge or takeover was what, 2011?
Yep, exactly. So that engine's been around for quite a while now, and I guess you could say, fortunately, it's still a good engine. I think it's aged well. It's still somewhat relevant. However, a large
It
V8
provides theater. It provides theater that none of the hot V turbo V8 motors add.
Yes, yeah, because it's still supercharged. I honestly wish in those you could hear the supercharger a little bit more, not Dodge levels, but a little more. Like,
Yeah, you
Dodge,
can hear the supercharger though in the V6s.
yes, you can hear it more in the V6s.
There is wine.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked before on how I thoroughly enjoyed the V6 Type S, or or whatever they called it, the V6 F Type S. There we go. That I drove about 6 years ago at this point. It was a fun little car. I thought it was well balanced for what it was. It didn't feel like it would get out of its own skin, flooring it, and that was quite enjoyable because I had that car in snow by pure accident, and it did well for a little rear-wheel drive sports car. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's interesting. Was there anything else at the show that you saw? Like, I haven't been there. I actually just realized I haven't been there in like 5 years.
Not really. I mean, it was the full Mazda lineup. Subaru had their lineup. There were a couple of supercars that were at the entrance. I saw the new Bentley Continental GT, the one that's based on the Panamera, and the Bentayga. There was a Porsche 911, a 992, but no mid-engine cars, no Cayennes, none of that. I saw some Maseratis. I saw, I mean, there was a GM area. I don't know if the Z06 was over there. I was kind of being pulled in the other way.
Yeah.
By the time we got to there, the head turners had a whole fucking corner there, which was interesting. It was, for those that don't know who the head turners are, they're actually a nationwide club or group that they basically mostly consist of Chargers and Challengers that are slammed to the ground with demon eye headlights, really cringy wheels, and a bunch of lights and shit. And they had like their hoods popped. There's one of them that was there. You probably have seen it. It's a white Challenger Hellcat that has the front completely wrapped in this like red blood stain.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's like that kind of crowd.
I mean, head turners, I guess you can say that at least their name's accurate.
Oh, their names are definitely accurate. It's just not the kind of automotive flavor that I'm into.
Same.
if that's your thing, and if you ain't hurting nobody, fucking God bless. Or as they like to say, gobless.
Gobless. Yes. No, I agree.
Hell yeah, brother.
Oh my god. Oh, all the whining noise. Actually, funny enough, I saw a video of somebody with my 5-cylinder S6 that did a twin charged setup, a supercharger and turbocharger, and it sounded wild.
Oh my god, I want to hear that.
I will see if I can dig up the video and I'll send it to you. It might take some digging, but yeah, it was. He had the supercharger set up for constant drive, so it never decoupled whatsoever or unclutched. So it was a constant loud whine.
Wow,
it was hilarious. He used the stock turbo and with that combination, he ended up being able to boost everything to around 350 horsepower. Not really Not really even doing full bolt-ons, but just obviously custom tuning.
That sounds like a lot of work for only 350 horsepower.
Yes. I think what happened is he wanted to test this first, and I think he'll be building it further later. But this was
He
like the easiest
really
way
ought
to
to.
test.
For all
Yes.
that work, that should be a 600 horsepower car easy.
And I'm sure it will be. He was just, it seemed excited, and I think he's over in like Lithuania or something. But he seemed just
cool.
genuinely excited that he got it working, which I could understand, having that much work put into it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to find that. But yeah, it is wild. I did see. Oh, actually, there is one more funny little thing. I saw my first Lucid.
Oh, what color?
It was green.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was like a.
Where at?
It was on the freeway around North Salt Lake.
Interesting. Cause I've seen a white one and a black one. But tell me your thoughts. So what do you think?
It's very large. What's funny is it almost looked. The profile, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Almost looked Bentley-esque, like 4-door Bentley-esque.
Interesting.
Not the bumpers, not the headlights, not the actual like face and butt of the car, but just kind of the way that the hood,
The middle section.
and the middle section swooped up. Yeah, it's large. Holy shit, it's huge.
They are quite big.
I think they look cool. I think it's I've having seen some of the stuff, I hope they continue to do well because I think they're a really cool brand, and hopefully they continue to go forward. And Jesus Christ, are they fast? If you haven't seen any of the drag race videos, go look at them. Wow,
It's the fastest thing around, really.
by far. It's hilarious.
Short of the thing that has the fan on the back, the EV McMurtry, I think is what it's called.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The one that did a crazy Goodwood run this summer. Short of that is basically the fastest fucking thing around.
It's funny to watch that spank a plaid.
Yeah, well, and from my understanding, they can kind of turn and stop pretty decently too, which can't necessarily be said for the plaid as far as stopping is concerned.
For the Plaid. Yes.
Yeah. So, well, that's cool. Yeah, I see French design in that car. I don't see anything that looks necessarily German about it, or even American, or even really English. I see French design in that car. Harking back to like old like Citroens and shit. But I mean, it's a company that's started by someone who left Tesla a while ago, and is also made up by people that are like car enthusiasts. They benchmarked an E39 M5 for handling,
which is a great fucking benchmark.
Well, yeah. So it'll be great to see. I really want to see more of those. They're expensive. They are like the top one is knocking on the door of 200.
Yeah, and looking them up, I actually see what you mean by some French design. Kind of looking a little closer, because the French have had a thing with like really with like a continuous line across like the whole front and rear, and the Lucid very much has that. It's
modern in a lot of its design language, but there's also an element of flair and flamboyance to it. But and a lot of it's color dependent, of course. When they are in white, they look more like a refrigerator. Yeah. But if you get them in a color, I think they're beautiful cars.
Yeah, and then right after that, the day after that, I saw a Rivian, the SUV one.
Oh, cool.
And that was also green, funny enough.
I saw a green R1S when I was on my way back from Park City to Salt Lake in the delivery van, in the flower van. So
and even more funny,
months ago.
This one had a manufacturer plate on it, so it was a press car, or something like that. It wasn't a regular person; it was a manufacturer plate.
Interesting.
So it makes me wonder what it was doing, because that was up in Farmington. And it was loaded with guys. I didn't recognize any of them, but it was making me wonder, is that like some press event going on? Is that like a whole bunch of people reviewing the car?
I haven't heard anything from Todd and Paul about it.
I had that thought, because I didn't get a good enough look at them to recognize them, because it kind of flew by me on the right. I could just see that had at least 4 people in it.
So they're up in Park City, and they get cars delivered to them.
Yeah.
So I mean, there wouldn't be a press or media event anywhere near Farmington.
No.
If they were to do something, like I could maybe see Blue Sky, which is part of the High West brand that's out by Colville, and kind of out that way. I could maybe see something happening out there because I know Mercedes has done stuff out there.
Yeah.
As far as media events and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. It could also.
Maybe
I
it
don't know.
could have been a range test, but if it was them,
They're already selling the cars though.
True. Yeah.
I mean, the one that I saw was like a person car, like a car.
Yeah, that's what was weird to me is I knew they already existed. I knew they weren't like pre-production.
Right.
So it was weird just seeing one so late with a manufacturer plate still on it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a loaner. Actually, maybe that could be. It could be just a expired press car that's now a loaner for prospective buyers, being that there's not really dealerships.
Or someone had work done on theirs.
True.
That's probably more likely.
Yeah.
Someone's getting work done, and they're like, here, take an R1S for a week or 2 weeks.
Have fun. Don't crash it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's cool to have seen so many interesting cars that I hadn't seen before because that Viper that I saw, although it's sad as it was, I also hadn't been that up and close with like a Gen 3 or
really?
an XK140 or those 356s. It's just been a week of like, I haven't driven anything, but I have like ran into a bunch of cars that I haven't been near yet.
It's nice to have moments like that for us in Utah where we have defined car seasons and we've kind of been neglected or we feel neglected. And we get to do a bunch of car shit, in the middle of a dead season. It kind of, I don't know. I feel like it gives us life.
It gives us breath to continue on.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I do my fucking California trips in December, January.
It's also the greatest time to go to LA because it's not as bad. It's not hot. It's not muggy.
Well, they're fucking flooding right now.
Oh, yeah, because of all the rain.
Yeah. Yeah. Which we'll see how that goes. If this isn't the last time you'll hear from me, I'll make sure to tell you all about it.
And if Gavin perishes in one way or another, I'll carry on the podcast in his name.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no, that shouldn't happen.
Well, I'll have to write up a quick will between now and then. I'll make sure you get my Fiesta.
Aw, thanks.
You're welcome, bitch.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, bitch.
Well, I'm glad.
Well, I think that'll do it for this episode of the Expedition to Speed podcast. I have laundry I have to do so I can pack because, it is almost 4:00 now.
Yep.
Girlfriend is off of work at roughly about 5, and I have a birthday dinner with my parents at 6:30. So I got a fucking boogie. But thank you all for listening, for hearing us, mostly me ramble on this episode. And we'll make sure to check in. I don't know what we want to do for next week's episode. I guess I'll be back if I survive.
Yeah.
If I survive. I think we'll probably do the next one remote too because I will have already just spent a lot of money on gas.
Yeah.
And don't necessarily want to add another 90 minutes of driving.
Understandable.
Roughly. So, yeah, thanks again for listening. We have merch available at www.exhibitionspeed.com. We got hats, we got hoodies, we have stickers, we have articles up there from things I wrote 2 years ago that I need to add, and you also have a Saab article you got to work on.
Yeah.
What else? We have videos that will be coming out weekly starting April, the 5th, I think. Somewhere around there, whatever.
Yep.
The first Wednesday. New weekly videos starting in April every Wednesday at midnight, midnight Mountain Standard Time, just so they can be live for the world to see at roughly decent hours.
Yeah.
So we have that going on, and we have some bigger production ideas that we want to accomplish this year. So crossing our fingers, crossing our toes, crossing other things that we can make that happen. And Justin, do you have anything else to offer?
No, just I did want to give a quick shout out. We did actually have one individual purchase some merch this week, which is James.
Shout out to James K, real homie. James, if you're listening right now, send me a message on Instagram or something to let me know that you heard this gp.media, and I'll wave back at you. But thank you, sir.
Yep,
we appreciate you.
Thank you for the purchase, and thank you for your continued support, both James and everybody else.
Well, James is the one that's always like watching our shit and then commenting on it.
I know.
Like I think we have like an actual fan.
He's easy to track.
That's true.
I wish everybody else's metrics was easy to track to see how many people actually watched our shit.
Yeah, me too.
Well, anyways, I think that about covers it.
All right. I'll see you next week.
Yep. See you as well.
Bye.